So Dave Ramsey went on Fox News and had a couple of things to say about student loan debt and stimulus checks. Take a look.
Well, to start with, we need to understand we got $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. $192 billion out of that, not so much. Let's do some ratios, folks. If we're going to do math, we probably ought to play math. Now, on top of that, when you dig into it, the whole idea that student loans being forgiven is going to stimulate the economy, that assumes that people were getting ready to pay them off this year and instead would use that same $40,000 that they were getting ready to pay off their student loan and stimulate the economy with it. Again, that's economic hogwash. It's smoke and mirrors. It's simply not going to happen.
Dave, I just think there's a moral hazard doing this. You're young,
absolutely.
You signed a financial contract. You have an obligation to pay that money back.
Absolutely. Well, listen, there's some situations where folks are hurting, and this thing has it's gotten completely out of hand.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people's lives who have been destroyed by this program. Somebody needs some relief somewhere. I'm fine with that. But this has nothing to do with really helping people. This is a political gimme by progressives simply trying to buy votes. And we know that because when you go from $10,000 in forgiveness to $50,000 in forgiveness, the people who benefit are not lower income people. The vast majority of people that have an average income or less have less than $10,000 in student loan debt. Mm-hmm. The vast majority of people who would be blessed by moving it from 10 to 50 are high income earners. So again, this is all political rhetoric. It's not
Dave,
reality.
You come from an interesting perspective. You talk to Americans across the country every day on your radio program.
Yeah.
What do you believe is the right number or the right answer for the next stimulus check?
Well, I don't believe in a stimulus check because if $600 or $1,400 changes your life, you were pretty much screwed already. You got other issues going on. You have a career problem, you have a debt problem, you have a relationship problem, you have a mental health problem. Something else is going on if $600 changes your life. And that's not talking down to folks. I've been bankrupt. I've been broke. And I work with people every day who are hurting. I love people. I want people to be lifted up. But this is, again, it is just political rhetoric, and it's just throwing dollars out there. It's peeing on a forest fire. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Now that you have some time to digest that garbage, let's get into my commentary. So first and foremost, I previously made 2 videos surrounding the subject of student loan debt, so I won't pander too much to this issue because I feel like I've thoroughly discussed it. But I will give a little bit of insight about this. So he says that getting rid of student loan debt isn't a good idea because he says that it's basically a facade that to progressives that people will somehow take the $40,000 that they have to pay off student loans and spend it immediately and go buy a car or a house or whatever. Okay, well, first of all, that's not what we're saying at all. They don't have $40,000 just to go spend like that. What we're saying is you get rid of the student loan debt, and it's not like a refund. You're not giving them the money that they owe. You're just taking away the debt that they have to pay, the crippling debt that they have to pay. And therefore, it releases the chains and they can get involved in this economy and they will stimulate the economy. They will use that money that they would otherwise use to pay off their student loan debt to buy goods and services. That's how these things work. I mean, what the hell is this guy talking about? And he says that it'll overwhelmingly help the people that are high earners in this country. Well, that's just emphatically untrue. This has been debunked time and time again. The majority of people that take out student loans make somewhere between $40,000 and $60,000 a year. 65% of student loans are held by the bottom 80%. And even if in some reality that isn't this one, eliminating student loan debt would help the high earners, I would still be for it. You want to know why? Because I don't think student loan debt should exist on the principle of it, on the merit. I don't think anybody should be punished for trying to attain a higher education. I mean, why should we do that? And notice how the other guy, so haughty, says, oh, well, these younger people, you signed an obligation contract. Well, first of all, the first word you just said, these younger people. Why would we impose these restrictions on the younger generation? Why would we do this to them? Our future labor force, plague them with this crippling debt that we know, and they know they'll never be able to pay back. Therefore, they can't get married, they can't buy that house, they can't get that car, they can't do all the things they would otherwise do had they not be burdened by this debt. But really quickly, allow me to read to you a couple of facts. 52% of students who had taken on student loan debt did not feel it was worth it. That's over half of them. So these young people that signed that obligation contract that he said, half of them doesn't feel like it was worth it. Student loan payments have an annual growth rate of 6.6%. 53% of millennials have not bought a home because of student loan debt, either disqualified them or made it impossible to afford a mortgage. So all that shit he was talking about, oh, well, if you get rid of their debt, they're not going to buy any, they're not going to spend it. In 2018, 30% of college students lived at or below the poverty line. 14% are single parents, and 56 of them devote over 30 hours a week caring for children. 88% of single parents in college have incomes at or below 200% of the poverty line. I love how he acknowledges that it's a problem. Like this, like that is an issue. People are getting screwed with student loan debt, but he doesn't offer his solution. Like he just shits on the progressive policy, and he says lives have been destroyed. Okay, well, if you acknowledge that, then what's wrong with restoring these lives that have been destroyed, or at least helping some people out whose life hasn't been destroyed yet, right? By getting rid of this debt. And he says that people need relief somewhere. Well, this is a spot where they can get it. Get rid of this debt and help them out. But no. They don't actually believe in any of this stuff. They just want to shit on progressive policies. That's what they do. He says this has nothing to do with helping people. So what the fuck does it have to do with? This has everything to do with helping people. You're getting rid of people's debt. The same would go if you get rid of their car debt, house debt, whatever kind of debt. Getting rid of any kind of debt would help whoever has it. I really don't understand his argument. He says it's a political gimme and the progressives are trying to buy votes. So fulfilling the will of the people and giving the people what they want, if you check a poll, the majority of people in this country support things like getting rid of student loan debt and what have you. The American people as a whole are more left-leaning than they think, and the majority of people in this country support progressive policies. So if you fulfill those wishes of the people, that's buying votes. How so? To me, you're earning those votes by doing the bidding of the people, which is what those politicians are elected to do, which they so often don't do because they're corrupted. Allow me to continue. Then he goes on to talk about the stimulus checks. And God, is it awful. He was asked what amount did he think that people deserved for the stimulus. Like, how much do you think people should get? 600, 1,400, what? He says, nah, I don't believe in stimulus checks. What? You don't believe in stimulus checks? He said, no, if $600 or $1,400 will help you or is enough to change your life, then you're pretty much screwed anyway. What the fuck? I saw a great tweet that says financial advice from Dave, what's his name again? I think it's Dave Ramsey. I forgot that quick. But they say that financial advice from this guy goes something like, just be rich. just be rich already. You know what I mean? That's essentially what he's saying. Oh, if this stimulus money will help you, then you're pretty much screwed already. Go tell this to the millions of people that have lost their jobs and or healthcare and many other things that they've lost during the duration of this pandemic. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And once again, he proposes no solution of his own. It's just no stimulus checks. Well, what do you think they should receive? More austerity? That's probably his position. More austerity. The peasants, they can't get anything. They should have been born rich, or they should have acquired wealth in a way that isn't upstanding or legit. They should be con men and women or whatever he thinks. I don't know. It's just so disingenuous. It's morally asinine, and none of it makes any sense. I love how at the end there, he says he loves people and people need to be lifted up. Apparently not, man. Apparently not. You don't think people deserve to have their student loan debt relieved. You don't think that people deserve stimulus in a pandemic where they're getting beat the fuck down. I think that's the opposite of loving people and wanting to lift them up. And to really sum it all up, not even proposing an opposing solution to the problem, rather than just shitting on actual solution to the problem. I mean, these are the best solutions. People are struggling, provide them stimulus. People are struggling with debt, get rid of the debt. It's as simple as that. But to these people on Fox News, all of this is your fault. All of this is because something's wrong with you. As he stated in that video, you have a career problem, you have a debt problem, you have a relationship problem. This is all your fault. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's not the system that's fucking you over. No, this system is perfect. It's not the system that's screwing you over. It's not the system that whose minimum wage isn't a living wage. So you can't work a minimum wage and make enough money to live in this country. No, it's not the system that doesn't provide you adequate health care, that makes people go bankrupt from trying to pay for this health care that they provide. It's not the system that puts people in the hole for trying to achieve a higher education, crippling them for the rest of their lives. No, it's not the system, it's you. It's something wrong with you. Fox News at their finest, everyone.